Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another exciting episode of Just Seen Podcast. And today, as you've seen from the title, we're going to be talking about balance. And as you've seen from the subtitle, we're going to be talking about specifically duality and divinity. The reason why I want to talk about these two is because, spirituality we always speak about and stuff. And we know spirit is the balance. And we ultimately know that spirituality is the balance overall, right? And the question is, though, like, what is the ultimate goal of spirituality? And so a lot of people, you know, we think that it's, a state of goodness and, serenity and tranquility and all these other goofy things that we think it is. But we don't pay attention to the fact that it's balanced, right? But I've learned and just observed that there's two forms of a balance. And this is why I mentioned duality and divinity, because we know the significance of the number two, right? We live in a binary world, contrary to what everybody else says. We live in I ain't gonna say world. We live in a binary nature. You know what I'm saying? In a binary nature, you have duality and you have divinity. Both both of the roots of duality and divinity mean two. You know what I'm saying? Dual, two, die, two. And in looking at them, I was like, how can they both mean two, but they mean opposite? They don't necessarily mean the same things. They mean similar things, but they don't mean the same thing. Because when we think about duality, we think about, somebody having two sides or, even balance between two sides. We look at the duality like that. But then when we look at divinity, we rarely acknowledge that divinity is two of something as well. But the difference is, and this is where we have the goal of spirituality coming in, the goal is to remain balanced, but the question is the goal is to remain balanced, and you will be balanced, but the choice and the decision of which balance you're going to have is totally up to you. You can either have duality in your life or you can have divinity in your life. And I think that's one of the coldest reasons why they gave us religions and shit, to misinterpret and misconstrue our expression of divinity. So divinity is still two, but it's two as one. Um, it's two as one as opposed to duality being two in one. You see what I'm saying? But both are balanced in a way. It is in such a way, if you read Sophra 3, I talked about the definition of divinity is the spiritual, mental, and physical balance made between masculinity and femininity, right? When we look at duality, that is an individual expression of masculinity or femininity, or masculinity and femininity, but we don't look at how well we can use those. And so the reason why I wanted to have this episode is because a lot of times when we think about something being divine, I talk about this shit all the time. I say divine shit happens. And I want people to understand what I'm talking about now. I've had conversations when I'm like, yo, this is some divine shit. And everybody thinks I'm talking about a deity. I'm talking about, higher powers, sources. Not in a way I am, but in a way I'm not. Like when I say some shit is divine, I mean that it is two as one. That means that the mastery of it is no longer a separate entity. These two things now blend together. That's all gods are, if you think about it. You feel me? They're evenly both the darkness and the light. They're in it as one, and it's not two separate entities. That's what makes them deities, because they have the potential to do both. Everybody tell you, well, the devil can be busy, and that's why I be wondering, like, how do y'all really know the difference between the devil and God? Because the way y'all describe it, they got equal power, which is how deities work. And that's why I say deities are the highest conceptualization of the mind, because that is when the binary reality or whatever it is that we're looking at has reached its singularity, which is the divinity. And it's the singularity in which they are as one, as opposed to the singularity that it has, that is as two, which is duality. And so we're going to go down a deeper rabbit hole beyond duality and divinity, but I'm going to, that's the reference points of where I want to start it, because when we talk about balance, we don't talk about the honesty and balance. Everybody wants to be imbalanced and shit. For some reason, like, nobody wants to truly be balanced. They talk about having balance, but nobody wants to be balanced, because we always want to be the most extreme side in a good way, not realizing that because that imbalances us, we're still in balance within the universe. That's why our world is what it is. And I'll break that down in a little bit. But first, before we dive heavy into that, be sure to follow me on Instagram at _just_seen_. Be sure to check out my website at IamJustSeen.com to get all things that are just seen. To all those who tip, donate, and sponsor to the podcast, you are greatly appreciated. To all those who would like to tip, donate, and sponsor to the podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of the podcast. Not this episode, but the podcast itself. And as always, you know the vibes. Cash App and PayPal are just fine. And that's that for this, and that's this for that. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into balance, duality, and divinity. And don't forget to visit IamJustSeen.com. There, you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the So For Real series to your library? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to learn how to master the markets for serious trading and investing? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You ever want to just chat with Seen about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at IamJustSeen.com. So take a quick peek into my world to see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it, and you will never see it unless you visit IamJustSeen.com. All right. Welcome back. Cow. And without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get it started. So, piggybacking off of where I was going with that, let's start there. So we got duality and we got divinity, and because for the sake of duality, everybody tries to live an extreme. You see what I'm saying? Everybody thinks that they're chasing the divinity, or they're using but they really chasing the duality, and they're choosing to pick a side, right? I love the Sisters of Life, but it's more evident in them right now because they're doing this shit mainstream. That whole embracing sexuality, that is a part of their duality and not their divinity. That's why it's an extreme. They went from being the modest soft girl that they hoes, bro. Respectfully, I'm not saying it in a way like if I seen them on the street and shit, I treat them like a hoe. But I'm saying they're doing hoish behavior. You know what I mean? You're doing hoish behavior, and you're doing hoish behavior to an extreme, which makes this a duality. You're balanced, right? Now, here's why I'm using that is because at the end of the intro, I was speaking about how you can be imbalanced but still be imbalanced in the universe. What I mean by that is that balance is going to occur all the time. So even if you move to an extreme, that means that extreme has to move into your life. You see what I'm saying? And the reason why I'm using women as that example is because these women that I'm noticing that are, we're going to embrace sexuality and all this shit. I'm looking at how they also complain about the lust that men are bringing to them. This is called duality, baby. You have to understand how it works. As men, we understood it a long time ago. We knew that lust comes with embracing sexuality. That's why we're able to do it, because it's easy for us, because we're lust-driven creatures. So we make the lust. We're not lust-driven creatures. Let me say, they've created us and conditioned us to be lust-driven creatures. So that's the side that we pick. So now that women are trying to embrace that, they don't know the extra shit that comes with it, which is the duality that has to be balanced, right? So in whatever it is that you're embracing, and that's why I use women, because now I'm taking it back to just as a whole. We use things in extremes and call it balance, right? Our lives are completely imbalanced, but the universe is balanced, and that's what fucks us up. And that's what we don't realize has a deeper connection. So we thinking, oh, this shit is in shambles. This shit is motherfucker. No, you're trying to be one extreme of yourself. So you're going to experience the other extreme in your life to make sure you maintain that extreme. This is why I always tell people, and I'm telling y'all here now, stop trying to be your higher self. We're going to mention higher and lower self when we get to the divinity side of it all, but we got to stick to duality first. Like, stop trying to be only your higher self, because everything that is your lower self now comes into your life and it stays there. You wondering why I changed for the better and shit. Like, well, you extremed for the better. You didn't change because that was always who you were. You just allowed one extreme to come out. Now you're the holier than thou righteous person. Now you wonder why your shit has to be in turmoil. We got to make sure you can sustain that. You see what I'm saying? You're going to be in balance. I don't care if you try to imbalance yourself and think I'm only going to be all good and you wonder why you're all bad. You ever wonder how, there's always that vice. It's a virtue and vice. Like whenever somebody's like extremely virtuous or they try to be extremely virtuous, their addictions or the things it's like their vices are the exact opposite to what they're doing. And they're the ones that are hidden, but they're heavily magnified. Here's what I mean by that. Most religious people, most religious people gossip like a motherfucker. The more devout they get and the more I want to spread the good word, which is, they call the gospel the good news, the more they start quoting scriptures and doing all that shit, they're trying to operate from one extreme, but they gossip just as bad. You ever notice how much tea they have is equal to how much scripture they know? Because duality has to still happen. It doesn't make a difference. And then when you get around people who just willingly want to gossip and then y'all get back together and then your higher selves or whatever, you have to maintain that balance. So now people be like, this person is fake. No, this person is extreme. This person is extreme. And this is how this person has to operate. And you may just be getting a piece of the polarity. You dig what I'm saying? That's what happens when we try to do our higher self. It was no different than the conscious community and shit, astrology and all of that shit. Motherfuckers getting to a point where they only want to pick one side, and they don't realize that by picking one side, you invite the other side into your life. I'm not telling you no spiritual, mystical shit that I read in a book. I'm telling you what I've actually experienced. This is also an extension of what we talked about in the decision-making episode. This is why they give us gods, devils, and deities and shit. They don't tell us the real meaning for religion and the allegory behind what it's supposed to represent. They're not going to tell us that shit because now our lives can be balanced for real, and we can balance them. The sole fact that you believe in a deity outside of yourself sets the whole tone for your inability to know how to balance yourself. You're going to remain in balance. I don't think people really understand how the closer you ever notice how the closer you get to your quote unquote deity, the worse your life gets because the universe remains in balance. A lot of people don't want to admit it. Yeah, you can talk about that favor ain't fair and all of the shit, but the closer you get to your deity and the more you obsess about how you got to be a good person and try to get to heaven. Okay, we got to see if you're built for heaven, nigga. You're going to go through hell to get to heaven. It's no mystery. It's no mystery. And people want to know that why do I have to build up credit, credit for heaven, and then wonder why you get put in situations that you got to be the angel for. Oh my God, did you want to be holier than thou, nigga? Be holier than thou. Take the responsibility of what it takes to be holier than thou. And people can't do that, and that's where the duality comes in. But like I said, it also goes back into our decision-making skills. We attribute the residual effects of our decision making skills to deities. This is now very, very important because what this means is that even if intentionally within our lives we think that we have to be good, we're gonna make fucked up decisions. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm talking about when people say, okay, I want to be my higher self, and they end up having to practice restraint against their lower self instead of making decisions that are based out of lower nature. You dig what I'm saying? When people say, for example, you never like when people say I gotta stop doing this, just stop doing it. I know a lot of people say, well, it's easier said than done. I know it's only easier said than done because it's easier to say than to do. That's as simple as that. I hate when people say shit like that. It's easier said than done. No, it's easier said than done because it's easier to say than it is to do it. It's not easier said than done. It's actually, when you really think about it, it's actually easier to do than it is to say it. Because to actually say it means that I have to, to say something that I've never done, that means I have to actually consciously think about the right words and vocabulary to make it understood to you. When I've actually experienced it, it don't matter. I don't have to formulate the right words. I can tell you the right words because of the experience. You dig what I'm saying? But when we lack that experience, we don't have the ability or the wherewithal to actually define what it is that we're saying. So everything ultimately comes as speculation or belief. You know what I'm saying? If we don't have the knowledge to even apply. But this is the extension of what it means to be a dual being, because you're going to have balance in your life. That's the scariest part of all of this. Even when people say, yo, my life is going through shit right now. It's balanced though. And like I said, this is because of shit that I've experienced myself. I knew when I went to an extreme, I was like, why does this negative shit keep happening? Why does this negative shit keep amplifying? I'm living right. No, you're not. You're living extreme. You're living extreme. And a lot of people think walking on the wild side and doing shit that's gonna, just be bad all the time is living extreme. No, an extreme is when you decide to pick one side of a duality and amplify that in your life. That'll never leave you to the divine. But because of that, you need a divine source to now lean on, because you can't be the divine source. Because, like I said, the divinity has to be present. The divinity of anything is when the two things are as one. So your life is in a divine limit, your divine limbo, a divine rotation. Even when you're trying to operate as your higher self and you wonder why all of the shit of your lower nature keeps tempting you. It's not tempting you. You're trying to practice restraint when you need to just be making a decision not to do. There's a level of power to be able to decide not to do something. To the need to try to resist or practice restraint, right, against something means that it is naturally something that you want to do. You're naturally going against yourself in a way. You see what I'm saying? You have to figure out why you want to do something and then decide not to. You see what I'm saying? Like when people have addiction, when they try to stop being addicted, they just try to stop being addicted. They don't address the fact that this is an extreme reality right now. And in order for me to decide to stop doing this, I also have to decide what makes this addiction possible. Whether it be the time, whether it be the routine, whether it be the rhythm, whether it be whatever it is that I'm dealing with, I have to figure out how to make that possible. But we don't do that in a state of duality, because in a state of duality, we now can justify it, because if we're living this way, we have to see the full extreme of what's happening to us. Nobody escapes this reality. Balance will be made in your life. Let me say that. Your life will be balanced no matter what. Whether you're in balance with that balance, it's a whole different question. But your life is balanced right now. And because people don't understand the reality of duality and learning how to shift it into divinity when their life is balanced, they think that's why it's like no matter how good people say they live, the devil seems to always be busy. I've never seen the devil busy in the life of street niggas. But I've heard in the life of street niggas, your grandmother's and your mother's prayers were protecting you. Was it? Or was it the fact that you were living in such an extreme that the other extreme had no point but to manifest itself in order to be balanced? Yeah, you fucked up and ravished a whole lot of lives, but shit was balanced. Shit was balanced in the universe. And you were the imbalance. Now, that imbalance that came in, and this is why they be like, yo, why do bad people not? Oh, they get their karma. They get it when it comes back, but the karma is the residual of your decision makings. A lot of us won't. A lot of people don't get karma the way we want them to, is because they haven't stopped making the decisions for the residual effect to happen. The karma doesn't happen until you change your life out of the karmic situation. You got to understand that. Like when people be like, yo, why fuck boys keep getting away with it? Because they're still being fuck boys right now. It's not until they want to stop being a fuck boy that it stops. Again, experiences that I learned. It wasn't until I decided I was going to be the one woman man that I got everything that was done, that was dished out to me. Even though I dished it out in pieces, I still dished it out. Even though there's a collective of women that I have done wrong in small doses. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, I ain't heard of that bad, whatever the case may be. That adds up, bro. And you're going to pay that debt. Now, it's not until you stop, until you make those decisions to say, hey, I'm not doing this no more, I'm going to do this, that the residual effect now shows up. Because in the decision-making skills, when you're living in the lifestyle, you pivot against the negative shit. For example, when I was out hoeing and I was out doing my shit, you know what I'm saying? I was making conscious decision to keep doing that, which means the conscious decisions that the other decisions that I made was to stay on point and not get fucked over by a woman. I know that I'm fucking women over, so I know that if I'm playing this game, I need to be on point and not get played over. So nothing bad was gonna happen to me in those times. Relatively, you feel what I'm saying? Nothing bad was gonna happen. It's not until I walk away from the game that I say, nigga, because I'm not playing it anymore. But now I'm creating new decisions, but now the residuals are coming in and I'm not preparing for those residuals because I think I just put it down. That's what happens when a lot of people, quote unquote, make changes for their life. They forget about the shit that they did. They didn't even forget. They just think that it's not going to happen to them. No, it still has to come to you, because now you're in a space where you're finally stopping the bullshit and you're moving to another stream. And now you can see the residual effects, because now you're no longer playing defense in that realm anymore. You see what I'm saying? When you create an extreme, you're playing both offense and defense in that realm still. So you know how to maneuver against the whole extreme while the other extreme has to maintain balance. And then when you stop and say, I'm going to be good, nah, it don't work like that. You feel me? When I stopped trying to fuck women over and said, okay, I got into a single relationship. It's all I'm going to be fucking with and shit. Nigga, I switched the extreme without preparing for it. But again, there wasn't duality there. Now, because of this, I instantly turned one other side off. I turned the dog off. I turned the side of, oh, I'm in a one-woman relationship. She ain't going to cheat because women don't cheat because women do. Women, they want a good man. And when you this, that, and the third and all of that. So I went to a whole extreme I had never experienced before and that I never prepared for. But I went to the full extreme of it. And everything still had to be balanced. This is why they be like, yo, why do the women tempt you? They throwing pussy and all of this other shit. And like, yeah, because this is a part of the balance. You can't shake who you are. I've been a ladies' man. Women were always going to want me. That's a part of the duality. And you either have to embrace it or you're not. And again, because of who we are, we look at life as a duality. If you're in a relationship or you're trying to get in a relationship with somebody that you're physically attracted to and you don't want nobody else to be attracted to them, you're stupid as fuck. I'm not even going to say you're delusional. I'm not even going to say you're insane. You are stupid. Yeah, I'm gonna do the dramatic pause because that's stupid as fuck. You are attracted to somebody you don't want nobody else to be attracted to. And in that same thought process, you will be repulsed by somebody who is unattracted to you coming to you to approach you. You can't have both. You cannot have both. You know what I'm saying? If you are, you are. You know what I'm saying? This is what fucks a lot of women up in relationships because they don't understand the power of this. They don't understand the power of their own duality and why they keep getting fucked over, which is why they ended up having to embrace sexuality because they're like, it's weird when you hear women say, I don't want a man who ain't got no hoes. Well, when you want a man who got hoes, because it's like, I need to know that women get him, you're now a hoe. Do you see what simple role you accept? Like, you know what I mean? It's women right now, like, it's women that I used to fuck with, like, not fuck with, like, intimately and no shit like that, but like, we was cool and shit. I watched them transform and change. Like, niggas done hurt them, and they done been hurt so much that they became niggas. And I said this in 2012 in the actual song that I wrote. I said niggas became the women and women became the niggas. So much nagging, now we finally get it. But at the same time, y'all finally got tired of bitching. Everybody switched to extremes. Everybody switched to streams and got a podcast. And now they're not telling the divinity of it all. They're only telling the duality. This is why you motherfuckers got universal red flags. Y'all never seen that. Y'all don't find that suspicious in my Dr. Umar voice. Y'all don't find that suspicious that everybody has the same red flag, but your relationships are different. Only way y'all can have the same red flags is if y'all the same motherfuckers going into relationships, which means everybody's cloned, which makes sense because, everybody's programmed the same fucking way. When people have similar interests and they start, that's the clone, nigga. You have a difference between the clone and the soul tribe. We'll get into the soul tribe more so on the divinity side, but it's the same shit. You start gravitating towards the people that are clone like you or are operating from an equal extreme. That means that y'all are operating from one extreme. That means that equal parts of your life are going to have that same stream that maintains the balance in it, whether you're imbalanced or not. You feel what I'm saying? That's why birds of a feather flock together. Cause motherfucker, this is how the universe has to bring us together. Cause now we're in a space where we together can operate and do the same thing. That's why we become friends. But we're not really friends because we know that this is a bad extreme for our life. We be thinking, oh, let me cut this person off because this and no, you have to cut that extension of yourself off. That's why it's not cutting the person off. The reason why you and that person became friends and y'all gravitated towards each other is because the duality of the extreme that y'all are trying to use is the same. And now you're like, I got to cut this person off because you think this person is bringing bad into your life. No, 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 no. The extreme you accepted is bringing bad into your life. And extreme you accept is what brought them into your life as a friend and what moved you into their life as a friend. You were just like they were in their life and you don't even know it. You see what I'm saying? Because ego and arrogance or whatever the case may be makes us think that nothing is ever us. It's always the person. It's always somebody else outside of us. Again, this is that duality side of it all. We can't embrace that. Yo, my life is like this because I have already set up a duality and extreme. You become my friend and were able to walk into my space because of that duality that's already set up by me. You literally have to, in order for your fake friends to fall off, in order for the people that ain't shit to leave your life and shit, you have to change the duality you've already accepted. Don't nobody want to accept that part. Don't nobody want to talk about that part. Everybody want to tell you that it's not you. No, nigga, it's all you. Bruh, sis, all y'all, it's all you. It's nobody else but you. And now, like I said, your balance is gonna have to happen. Now, when you choose to be irresponsible and lack accountability for your for the balance you have to maintain in your life, you're gonna pick a duality and you're gonna try to walk that line. And now you mad, everybody hating on you, everybody this, that, and the third. No, 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 no. I chose an extreme and my life resonates with that extreme. It's accountability. You want to change that shit, you change that shit. But no, we blame other people for why I'm on my higher self. Fuck with me when you get off your root chakra. I heard all of that shit. I seen all y'all talk that shit and shit. But I see all y'all operate from an extreme. Y'all never actually understood your chakras. You never actually got off your root chakra. You know why? Because you never took your root chakra to divinity. You never seen what the dual nature of it was and mastered it. Y'all just be at the top of your root chakra talking shit. The fuck? Should be weird. Should be weird as hell. But it'd be funny and it'd be honest because this is what we don't realize is happening to us. This is what we don't realize that we're actually and actively doing. We have assumed an extreme, and by assuming that extreme, we have invited the rest of the shit into our life. And then we say demons are present, devils are busy. No, that's just the extreme you choose to acknowledge. It's going to be acknowledged. Simple. I ask people what demons and devils look like. Don't nobody ever want to tell me. They just say it's the feeling of this. No, it's the results of the consequences of some bullshit that you did. You knew you was fucked up when you fucked that woman's husband. You knew you was fucked up when you stole that man, girl. You knew it. And then now you want, oh no, it was what it is. Yeah, you want to justify your shit and you wonder why the residuals keep coming back the way they do. You feel what I'm saying? I fucked a lot of girlfriends. I fucked a lot of men's wives. I fucked a lot. I did it. But when it came back to me, it was different. It was like, it only came back to me when I stopped living in the extreme. That was because I was like, I'm not getting in no motherfucking relationship. In that relationship with me dogging women, honestly, I'm not getting in a relationship because I know how these hoes are. That's the real about it. It's like I knew how these hoes were. And not in the disrespectful way. It's just like if I'm already perceiving that all of y'all are hoes and the women that I'm fucking with are hoes, I can only, I'm not trusting these hoes. Y'all got husbands and boyfriends and shit, and y'all are set like, yeah, I can't be with you, baby. I fuck you though. But then because of that, I knew what I was resonating with. I was like, this is why we low key and subconsciously say all these women are the same. All these men are the same because all I keep going towards is the same shit. Nobody wants to talk about that part because you have to change your duality when you realize that. You feel me? When I talk about the times in my life when I had the bad bitches and shit, I don't get bad bitches no more. I can admit that. I don't get bad bitches no more. But when I did get bad bitches, I was the person that was in that extreme to have the bad bitches. I'm not in that extreme no more, so bad bitches don't come to me. I remember a stripper called me corny because I wouldn't throw money on. I said, no, I didn't come here to see you. Fuck. Just because I'm in a strip club doesn't mean I'm throwing money on everybody. I'm here for specific strippers. Like, fuck, this is a business, ma'am. And you're not the product I came to see. Respectfully, I know that seems so objective, but I'm in a strip club. They already did it to themselves. Case in point, if you're going to choose to operate in that extreme, I'm going to say, fuck it, embrace my sexuality. I'm going to go show my pussy and all of the shit. Now you have to accept what comes with embracing that extreme. I know. We about to get serious because a lot of y'all feel like no matter what, no man or no woman should invite the shit or whatever the case may be. People should have the moral code to not do that shit. Not when you operating from an extreme self. When you on your divine self, yes, I talk about how. But when you're in your dual nature, you only pick the single side and you chose to pick that side. So people are going to lust over you. Like if you chose to be an object of lust, you cannot get mad when the universe balances you out as a lustful object. Do you not see how this shit is connected and it's the divinity is created? You can't in one breath say that this is what I want to be and then get mad when you're tested in being it. It's easy to say I want to embrace sexuality. I want to show my pussy. I want to do all this shit online and then get mad when you're treated like that. Why are these niggas in my DMs sending unsolicited dick pics? Lady, you just posted unsolicited titties on social media. A lot of people don't I know it's your post and that's still unsolicited, homie. You unsolicitedly posted something to the universe that we saw and you put out lust and then you're mad when lust comes back. I'm using women as the extreme for this one simply because this is a general episode, but this is the easiest one to express because, you know, a lot of women, when this is why it's not, I don't condone it, but I'm telling you how it happens. When women are, raped or sexually assaulted and shit, why they be like, yo, well, what did she have on? Now, for the person who's the victim on the extreme, you don't see the problem. Why would that matter what she had on? It matters in abundant amount because that's what the programming was about. Because the forces that have us thinking and not thinking how we are because we're programmed, we don't know that we've been shifted to the extreme. So on the paper, the women are going to say, you need to look like this, you need to dress like this, you need to act like this, like an object of lust, right? So the women embody that and they're mad when they become an object of lust. You accepted that extreme for yourself. Similarly, the women that want to be the modest ones, oh, I'm this, that, and third, I want to wear a dress to my ankles, and then now they're overlooked. I just want to feel desire. Aisha Curry, she's married to Steph Curry, arguably one of the greatest basketball players of all time, but he's definitely up there. And right now he's the game is his right now. We can call it LeBron's or whatever. This is Steph Curry's game. There's no longer an era where the kids don't want to be LeBron no more. All kids are shooters now because of Steph Curry. You see what I'm saying? But look at his wife. She was the Christian, the modest person, everything, and look at what came with that lifestyle and what did she want after. I'm not going to respond to it, but sometimes I just want to be desired. You can't. That's not an extreme that you chose. That's not an extreme that you chose. But do you see how duality actually works? I'm glad those two examples were able to be played out because you see how the duality works. The extreme that you choose to go to is the other side that you know what I'm saying, that you're going to be missing, that you're going to be lacking within yourself. That's going to be all around you, but it's going to be what you create. So when you create this lifestyle of I'm going to be the modest person, now you're going to get the attention of a modest person. But now you're like, I want to be lusted over. You can't unless you switch to the extreme of that. So this is why I'm saying, going back to, well, what did she have on? Was she provocatively doing something? A woman can have no intention in her mind, in her conscious mind, in her subconscious mind, in her unconscious mind to do anything unruly, but she is in a position where the visual perception already shows you operated under this extreme. So this is what you want. Regardless of what you feel on the inside, perception is reality. So when you show up shaking ass, this is what I gotta accept you as, a motherfucker who shake ass. You see what I'm saying? So you put the energy out to be an object of lust and you get mad when you're lusted over. It's balance. It's balance. Now it becomes unsavory and unruly because it's like you're doing it with the intention that you're doing something good, but you see that the bad side comes with that aspect. It's because it's all remaining balanced. You get lusted over on by the people that you don't really want. You get lusted over or critiqued or whatever the case may be by people that you don't want. You get the attention that you don't want when you were always seeking attention. Didn't matter. You got attention. Just didn't want it because you chose that extreme. You know what I'm saying? For the same people who I don't want attention. All right, well, stop getting mad when you looked over. You see what I'm saying? Like when we look at relationships, I hear women say it all the time, I'm not competing for no women. You may not. Okay, cool. You don't have to, but you're in a competitive relationship world. The world is built on competitive relationships. If you're not competing for a man in a world where the relationships are built on competition, you're not going to last. You're going to sit on the sidelines, I wish a man would just approach me. I wish this. And same with my dudes. You can't have that peace if you still want chaos. It's fuck boys out here saying, be my peace. Nigga, you're the disruptor of the peace. That's why. You feel me? You the disruptor of the peace. We want to do all of this wild shit and come back to modest women. No, it does not work like that. There's anomalies and there's rare moments like that. She may, oh yeah, those women they start off, I never really usually do this before. Nah, bro, you're gonna get that extreme. Now, when you live in this extreme lifestyle and you want that peace and that shit like that, it's you have to be the one to bring it to you. That's why I tell y'all all the time, peace is the control of chaos, not the absence of it. You ever notice when you want a peace, your life get worse? Because it's on you to control that shit. Start putting some of these extremes down and bring this shit back into balance, which is a perfect segue into the divinity side of it all. A perfect side, the perfect segue into the divinity side, because that's what it is to be divine. It is to take your dual nature, which is two split sides, and now make them one. When you look at divinity as, I have to wear a halo, I'm gonna get a crown, I'm gonna wear all white, I'm gonna be this, that, and the third, I'm gonna become an angel, I'm gonna go sit with the gods, I'm gonna go sit with the ascended masters and all that shit. Like, yo, I'm telling you, I know, because before you learn some shit, when you just had a speculation of the belief, that's all you can say. But when you actually experience and understand it, you realize what it is. To be divine ain't got shit in it. To be divine is not as mystical as people think, and it's actually it's far more humanistic than we really care to give it credit to. Because to be divine is to just accept both sides of who you are, and as opposed to walking at extreme. Hence the title of the podcast, Profane Profanity. If y'all pay attention to everything that I do, for the most part, it's built off of balance. So now I've learned to operate from two ways, both in duality and in divinity. Because I've learned over time that they're both equally the same shit when you learn how to use the power. Sometimes, and when I'm learning and I'm developing, I use my duality because I can learn faster through duality. I'm gonna tell you this cheat code for how I cut corners when I learn. Y'all know how I always talk about in Sophra 3, I mentioned it too, but especially in Sophra 2 and 3, but I always talk about the antithesis of something. Right. And I always talk about, and I started with Sophra 1, I'm gonna give you the extreme. If I give you the extreme, you'll learn it a lot faster. Why? Because once I give you the extreme, the other side automatically comes, and I just gotta give you the side. You see what I'm saying? So what I actually do with myself is, when I'm learning something new, I submerge myself in one side of it. The other side reveals itself. I didn't know that this was happening until I started studying religion, right? I studied religion for 7 years. I started when I was like 18 and shit. But as I'm studying religion, it's like the more and deeper I go into the religion, the worse my circumstances got around me. Not in the sense of shit was like bad and disastrous and shit, but as I'm trying to become more devout and learn more, it's like I'm getting more reasoning to test this scripture, or to test this verse, or to understand this verse. And it's like it happened so fast that everybody was like, how did you learn it that fast? And my thing was, how didn't you? But I know how I learned it that fast. The people, I not only did I set myself up in extreme, I also faced the duality that came to me. This is why I was able to walk into the divine side so easily, because I was able to face the duality that came to me. You see what I'm saying? When you get to a point where you want to be obsessed with God, all that happens is the devil show up. So you got to embrace him. What happens is when people say, I give my life to God. If God ain't in this, they're like, but the devil is, the more people say that they're devout and it is, the devil is extra busy in their life. And I never understood why, because it all ties into their decision making. They made the decision to only be good, but bad still has to happen. For you to walk a divine life or divine line, bad still has to happen, right? Which means that if you only make good decisions, so you think, how do you have bad outcomes that happen too? Because the balance has to be made. So in watching this and in starting to study, I developed my study pattern like this. Just go straight extreme, let the other side, then it go straight extreme to the side that you want, go to the other side, boom, boom, boom. And then it got real quick when I had a working knowledge of the side that I was on. Then I just went to the other side and I was able to merge it so quick. And it was like, oh, so now when I learn in this space, it's all off of divinity, because I don't have to operate from that duality and go to the side. I can just walk both sides now. When you get to that point where you can see the good and the bad and everything, it's perfect. That is what they call innocence. When they teach us that, a child, they tell you all the time that a child loses their innocence. What was the moment you lost your innocence, or whatever the case may be? And we be thinking that a child saw something that changed their life, or whatever the case may be. The child saw something that shifted them to an extreme, and they learned the world has duality. That's what it means for a child to lose their innocence. Children don't know good or bad, right or wrong, up or down, none of that shit. They just know that this is what it is at this particular moment. I got to take it for what it is. But when you lose that, it's because now you have learned to pick a side, which now means that in order to be honest, you have to learn to lie. That's when the duality starts. People want to know why children lie so much. Why do you tell children to tell you the truth so much? It's called duality again. They don't know how to tell the truth because they don't know what the truth is. They think that the truth is what you want to hear, because they can only, at their childish age and their level of experience, they only know response to consequence. If I do this, I get a whooping, or I get yelled at, I get chastised, or I get rewarded, I get hugged, I get appreciated. When you tell me to tell you the truth and it gets me in trouble, I'm gonna lie to you. The fuck? We be acting like it's hard to comprehend. Why does my child lie? Why do you demand the truth out of the child? And not only that, how come when you do demand the truth out of the child, it's always a negative consequence responded to them? You can't tell your child to tell me the truth and then whoop them for telling you the truth and then get mad when they lie to you. That's your stupidity. Y'all see what I'm talking about? It's not ignorant at this point. It's being stupid because now you're making a conscious choice to tell somebody to do something that you're going to punish them for. And you're setting them up to live a life that is built out of consequence responses to consequences. You're going to tell them to do something good, but punish them for it and get mad when they do something bad. It's not rocket science, but it is when you try to remain balanced out of duality and not divinity, because now you can't even understand. So now you get older and it's like, now when women say, now we older, women are like, yo, why men lie? What you mean why we lie? The fuck? We don't get rewarded for telling the truth. Who the fuck gets rewarded? Name a motherfucker who got rewarded for telling the truth. You feel what I'm saying? Nobody. But who gets rewarded for lying? Everybody. Now I get it. Well, honesty is the best policy. For who? For who? Because I'm developing and I'm learning as a kid that it's not. Everybody I know who tells the truth, they suffer. They go through some shit. Nobody wants to fuck with them no more. They get chastised and left alone, but they fuck with everybody who lies, nigga. You just got to learn how to lie right. You got to learn how to say the lie the right way, because you can't be honest, because the truth hurts. People don't understand that shit. You can't, there's certain mantras and shit that you cannot accept and you cannot speak over your life and get mad when the opposite side shows up. Nigga, pain is love, and you wonder why every love experience is painful. Look what you've called love, motherfucker. You see what I'm saying? When you believe that pain is love and you spend your whole life looking for love and not pain, what do you think you're going to find? It's not hard. We are in competitive relationships and they teach us to go seek love. But they also told us that pain is love. So when we take this duality, I just want love. If love is pain, you mean in order for you to get love, you're going to have to experience pain to see what that love is. Don't nobody want to talk about that, because now you can't pray this away. This is all your decision making. You literally have to make the choice for everything you do. So like I was saying, from those extremes, you can use them to find a singularity, or you can walk in the divinity side. Now, the divinity side is still two. The divinity side is still two. You feel me? Just like the duality side is two, but it's two is one. The way in which I understood this concept so well is through Heru and Set. Their iconography in Kemet is so powerful. But not only them, Set and Nebuchadnezzar as well, because just what they mean is so powerful, right? Set represents the ego, and Heru represents the self, right? This is why you always hear me say self-esteem and ego are the same shit. It's just opposite sides of the same coin. So if you can't in one breath boost your self-esteem and then at the other side try to kill your ego, what you think happens to yourself? You commit suicide, or you drive yourself into insanity. That's what happens to a lot of people when they can't, like, duality can lead to insanity when you're on the cusp of divinity. If you do not make duality divine, it will drive you crazy, because you're picking an extreme and can't figure out why the other extreme is still prevalent in your life. Stop doing the extreme shit, and the other extreme will stop happening. But now, because of that, when you're walking that divine space, it's like now you have to equally choose who's going to show up the good side or the bad side. And like I said, Set and Heru is how I got this, because when I'm studying Kemetic iconographies and I'm studying African spiritualities, there was never a good or bad thing. It was just, nigga, this is who you're dealing with. This is the energy you're dealing with. And then it taught me about virtue and vice. And for Set to be the ego and Heru to be the self, Heru never kills Set. Set never kills. Now, Set does dismember Asar, and a lot of people like, well, ain't that the same shit? He killed Asar and scattered him around. But then when you understand what Asar is, what Set is, and Heru, and like that little, what is it? I don't know. It's five. It's like a penta. It's not a pentagram, but penta something of people, right? You have Asar, Set, Heru, Nebuchadnezzar, and Set, right? Asar is the soul, Set is wisdom, Set is the ego, Nebuchadnezzar is mortality, and Heru is the self, right? So when we look at Heru versus Set, it is the entire self versus the ego. And the ego is just the mirror illusory version of the self. Now, the illusory version of the self is still a real version of the self. I know it seems crazy, but if it's an illusion, how's it the real version? Because when you accept the illusory version of yourself, you can create real events in your life. A lot of us spent the first couple years of our lives not being who we were because we were people pleasing. We were going to colleges, we were going to school, we were doing everything to make other motherfuckers proud. That was the illusory version of ourselves. That was our ego. That was our ego. That wasn't ourself. That's why we were still miserable even after the fact. We completed and accomplished all these things. But it's why you need that status and why you need to have that accomplishment. You need doctor on your name when you went through all of these phases to quote unquote be a doctor because of the negative extreme that came with that, right? Because you have to be rewarded. When you're operating from the other side, you don't necessarily need the status of your validation because you're not moving out of ego. We don't go to school for it. We don't get good jobs. We don't do that. That's all for our ego. And we don't realize it because they don't teach us because we're not taught the real understanding of what an ego is. We're not using the ego wisely. So we don't know that when we don't know how to use the ego when it shows up. We don't even know how to see the ego when it shows up. So that whole I'm gonna get a good job, do this, like that's programming into our ego. The television program, those things that are programming our ego. And the sad part about the ego is that's who we really are and who we want to be. Not really who we are. That is an equal expression of who we are and who we want to be. We just haven't tamed it yet. That's the limitless side. That's the side that has no bounds. But now when we honor and we only operate with what makes people, what appeals to people, what makes people, what's politically correct, right? Our ego now gets involved because now we become, oh, I'm this upstanding person, and we realize that we decorate ourselves so much that we don't know who is in the core anymore, right? That's how Set ends up dismembering Asar. When Set dismembered Asar, he scattered his body around the lands or whatever the case may be. But basically, the ego will separate the soul and scatter it out because the ego now is going for status and not enhancement of essence. You feel what I'm saying? Now, here's why I'm using the Heru and Set. It's because that shows how powerful the ego will dismember your soul. And that's what the ego has the power to dismember your soul, in which only wisdom can put your soul back together. You feel what I'm saying? But ego has the power to dismember your soul, which means that your ego is something that you cannot kill because it's something that can kill you. Hear me well. If if you think that you can kill something, that something can kill you too. So if you think you're going to try to kill your ego, guess what your ego is going to ultimately do to you? Because now when you're operating from the duality perspective and now your focus is only on your ego, what do you think has to happen? I'm going to kill my ego. But now I wonder why my life is in shambles right now. And I just keep making fucked up decisions because your ego is killing you because you need your ego to survive. But you would know that if you operated from a divine perspective as opposed to a duality perspective, using Set and Heru, Heru represents higher self, Set represents lower self, but they're not points of ascension. They're equal points of magnitude. Opposite sides of the same coin. But when you're learning from a perspective in which, same shit with religion, when you're learning from a perspective of duality, you make it an extreme. You think that this is high, I'm above because it's higher, it's greater. No, nigga, it's the same shit sitting at a different position. And you equally embody from the higher self the same shit you embody from the lower self. It's like interlocking fingers. The gaps are filled within each other. Now, when you operate from the extreme perspective, you're saying, I'm going to be incomplete. This is why when we approach relationships from that dual nature of balance, why the other person has to be, you're my other half, you're my better half. You ain't no better half of me. That just shows that I'm denying one half of myself. We know what we be talking about without knowing what we be talking about. You ever notice how we get into a relationship with a motherfucker? We call them our better half, and ultimately, as our better half, the relationship goes sour and it gets bad. And next thing we know, this motherfucker is treating us like shit. And it's like, you ain't shit, this, that, and the third. And then that other half that you once loved, that was the better half, is now the worst half. But what you're not paying attention to is that both of those halves, better or worse, are you. And you're just reflected in it, but you didn't see it because you were never trying to see your dark side. All you keep hearing is get into the markets, but do you trade or do you invest? Should you do stocks, forex, crypto, or NFTs? My personal answer is not a single one if you don't know how to read a chart. Without knowing how to read a chart, you end up giving all your money to those who do. Do you know what a candle is? Do you know the pocket of activity? Do you know the difference between market direction and market control? If you answer no at least once, you might want to learn how to read a chart first. Learning how to read a chart will let you know if you should trade or invest and if you should do stocks, forex, crypto, and or NFTs. It will also let you know if this is even for you or not. So visit IamJustSeen.com to learn how to read charts with my Mastering the Market course, ebooks, and webinars today. The world is changing. The question is, will you adapt with it? The very shit that pisses you off in a relationship, the very shit that hurts your feelings in a relationship with another person and shit, that is your reflection, nigga. That isn't some arbitrary shit this person is just pulling out their ass to do to you. The shit that bothers you is the shit that you deny in yourself, that you're trying to hide what you need in your life because of the duality. Now, we operating from the divinity perspective and shit. Now you learn how to embrace this. So Set and Heru, I'm getting on track because I got to stay on the divinity side. I get back to the point that I was making with that. So Set and Heru, their iconography ends in a battle, but it's not a battle in which they fight. It's two battles that happen once the battle happens. It's two events specifically that occur. The first one is Heru is sitting on a boat and Set is steering the boat, but he's stabbing the shit that's trying to come into the boat. Like if like alligators or snakes and shit are trying to get into the boat, Set is standing there defending the boat and steering it at the same time. It's important to know that your personality is stationary, and then once your ego is healthy, your ego protects your personality. That's what it's supposed to do. Now, the other side of that is Set and Heru are both holding reed plants. Well, one is they're equally they're yoking up plants together. One is a papyrus plant, one is a lotus plant. This represents the semi-tawi. No, semi-tawi. It's SMAITWAI, but it's Kemetic for the union of the two lands, the connection of the higher self and the lower self and shit like that. Even then, when they was talking about higher and lower self, they weren't talking about greater or less than. They were just talking about two different points because they talk about lower Egypt and higher Egypt or upper Egypt, right? So in merging those two beings work together. So that whole iconography was when you get your ego in check, it protects you. When you don't, it destroys you. That's what the whole Asar thing was. It will dismember your soul. You feel me? But when Heru mastered it, it's like, okay, yeah, your personality can master your ego and your ego can still be fueled. But that's what it means to be divine. That's what it means to be divine. Even if we're just looking at divine from like two vines, like the words, a vine is a vine is a connector. Like a vine is a connecting piece of vitality. You know what I'm saying? Look at a grapevine. A vine, that's what it is. So it's a connecting piece of vitality. You have two of them that have to come together to make you divine. You dig what I'm saying? Using that perspective, this now shows that to truly walk into your divine self, it means that you have to walk into the capacity of I'm using my negative and my darkness together. I see it a lot and I give y'all credence and shit, but I'm seeing that y'all are just talking because y'all really don't know the divine feminine shit. Like I named my third book, Divine Masculine, because of for one, the marketing and what was popping at the time. Everybody was talking about masculine, divine feminine and shit like that. But yeah, they don't understand that divine has to come first. And then the divine part means that you have absolute balance within the self. And then the feminine and masculine part means that you're now walking in your predisposition with it. You got to have balance within masculine and feminine first in order to lead with the side that you're supposed to lead with. You feel me? But again, people are operating from the duality side. So women are, I want to walk in my divine feminine. I want to walk, like, they're not paying attention to the fact that when one side doesn't work, they just switch to the other side instead of blending those two sides together. Watch it. Y'all are seeing it clear. I know y'all seeing it because I'm seeing it. We seen that shit clear as day. You feel what I'm saying? They literally, like, they'll go from, you watch it. The women will go from modest to hoes. That's it. There's no extreme. You never seen someone who's wholly modest or, modestly hoish. Like, they walk that line. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, wow, how do you do it? Men, we never had to. Like, Well, no, we did. But again, this is where, as men, we don't have to walk that divine line. We can literally pick one side. And most sides that people want to pick us is our dark side. Nobody wants a good guy. So we now have to operate from the extreme. Or we can operate from the balance and be both. You see what I'm saying? Because then you can start to realize who's who and what's what. You know, when you're on that dual side, you have to have a type. When you're on the divine side, you have to have an attraction. So when we look at how everybody is in the space, oh, I'm in my divine feminine space, I'm in my divine masculine space. What does that mean? Because you're in your duality. That's how I look at it. Like you're deciding only to pick one. Like when women keep telling me shit, I keep hearing, I don't want to be in my masculine anymore. I can't fuck with you. When women say shit like I don't want to be in my masculine, it's like you don't want to be whole. Because they teach us to operate only from a duality. So when a woman says, if I don't operate in my masculine, that's why they calling it the soft girl era. Subconsciously, a lot of motherfuckers know women like, if I'm gonna operate in my soft girl era, then I'm gonna bring in the man that yeah, you know why? Because the universe knows that if you're living like this to maintain balance, if you imbalance yourself according to the divine feminine, that's what you think. Now, the imbalanced part is going to be the divine masculine being all around you. Now, the question is, if you're not seeing divine masculine all around you, are you really divine feminine? And vice motherfucking versa. Don't think I'm just shitting on the sisters in this one. My brothers, if you want some, oh, this is divine masculine shit, I'm on my divine masculine. And all you keep running around as hoes and groupies and shit that ain't got no, like, you're not in your divine masculine. You don't even know it. You can title it whatever you want to, but I can tell you what energy you're in because the universe is reverberating that to the exact magnitude that you have. I never forget it. I was at a speaking event and one of the guys was, he's real. Like we on that esoteric metaphysical shit. And it's on some shit like this is how I knew like you can talk the words you want to. It's like he was talking about how, women be sending dick pics. I mean, not dick pics. I hope. Hey, it's 2020. I don't know. But he was talking about how women be sending tit pics and shit. And he be like, yo, you're a goddess. You don't need to be doing that shit. And I be looking like, nigga, I stopped getting that shit. When I got woke, what the fuck happened? Not on no jealous shit, but just on some, But I started to look at it when I see what he puts out as his, I'm in my spiritual masculine shit, it's the lust side. So he gets the lust back. You feel me? What I put out from my side was not the duality, it was the divinity of embracing both of these. So it's like the women that come in my space, it'd be funny as shit because they be thinking they shooting they shot by asking me my thoughts on some shit. No, you're annoying me. You're annoying me. I get it. You think because of these. I don't walk off of extremes. I'm not like, oh, he's such a smart person and this, that, and the third. Yes, that would be what you would do if I was in my dual space. I'm not in my dual space. I'm in my divine space. This shit is equally merged. Don't send me no shit asking me about my thoughts because now my ego is still there. Leave me the fuck alone. I don't know you. You feel me? My ego is healthy now. I can put that boundary up to say stop. Like when we be talking about boundaries, who the fuck you think puts the boundary up? Your ego, nigga, and your inner child. Because it has to be your ego because the other shit wasn't putting the boundaries up. Just fucking you up. Your self-esteem and all of that shit, that positive side, that wasn't putting the boundaries up. It's not until your ego gets involved that motherfuckers know to leave you the fuck alone. Y'all want to kill that shit? No, you have to become divine with it. So like I'm saying, like women in the space that I was in, women were, sending me shots and screenshots and shit of, hey, what do you think about this? Oh my gosh, I love the way you think. Okay, how do you think? I just love the way you think. Now, when you in that space, when you're dealing with the men who come from their egos, like you can do shit like that and hype them up. I get a no. You cannot hype me up. I'm gonna say this. You cannot hype me up. You cannot, inflate my ego because I can do that. And I don't inflate my ego. I let my ego be what it's supposed to be. So when you think you're gonna, oh, I want to know your thoughts and just that's annoying to me. I get it. You may be dealing with it because there are dudes that do that. You feel me? Yeah, I want to know. I want people to know how. So I don't give a fuck if you know how smart I am. That doesn't take away or add to how smart I am, or how intelligent I am, or how dope I am in using my mind. I have nothing to prove to anybody about that shit. You see what I'm saying? So in that space, I'm not operating from the extreme of keep sending me information so I can stay sharp. I'm gonna stay sharp regardless. So I'm using that to say this point. So as the bull is telling, I'm saying, yeah, these women sending dick pics. They might be sending this nigga dick pics. I don't know why I keep saying dick pics. These women are sending tit pics to this person. And as they're sending him these pics, he's like, Goddess, you're better than that. You got to tell him that. But I have not experienced no shit like that. because I also realize where I am as far as reverberation. I'm also practicing celibacy, so I'm not putting that out. You see what I'm saying? So the universe maintains this balance a lot better. And being that I'm making the decision to be celibate as opposed to restraining from having sex, the energy that comes to me is different. You see what I'm saying? So like while women think like they're throwing it, but they don't know how to throw it. Like you can't throw the pussy at me and make me want it because it's like, oh, that's okay, whatever. So when they come with the thoughts and shit, they still think that they're catering to the ego because, ooh, I know that you're a thinker. I'm a this, that, and that. I'm a whole human being. I'm not just a thinker. I happen to think. Know more about me because this ain't gonna be it. Then I have the other extreme of homies and shit that's like because they always want to send me playful shit, right? It'd be funny as shit to me when people, they'll send me YouTube videos, they'll send me some shit that I have no fucking interest in. Don't even give a fuck, or they don't even ask me, do I care? They just start sending me shit because this is what the fuck they wanted to do. You see what I'm saying? They just wanted to do the shit. Now, let's say now they send me YouTube videos and shit like that. And hey, watch this video on this. Now, how fucked up would it be? Because it will be fucked up because I heard how fucked up it is. If I sent you a link to a book, if I sent you a link to a book and said, hey, I think you should read this book because this, that, and the third. You should check out this book. You should do this. You sending me shit that I should occupy my time with. How come when I send you shit, it's like, oh, what you trying to say? What are you trying to say by sending me shit? I just thought this would, no, you like this shit and you wanted to share it with me so that I can like you more. And you think we have some kind of connection. No, this shows me the only way that we can connect. The only way that we can connect. When you constantly send me shit on the same thing, this is where your mind is. When all you want to do is send me shit that we joke about and laugh about, that's where your mind is. And you wonder why your life is not taken seriously. That's the extreme you always want to be on. Some playful shit. The fuck? The universe will balance that. I'm not that type of motherfucker. But again, I'm saying that because between me and the brother and where we are right now and shit like that, one of us was operating from duality, the other one was from divinity, but we were doing the same thing. So his extreme was, I'm gonna be the person who's not chasing a pussy, or I ain't gonna say chasing it, but I'm gonna put myself in that. I'm mystical, I'm this, that, and the third, and it's gonna set me apart. My higher self is what I'm gonna operate. Now all of the lower self shit comes to me. When you get woke, you get a lot of pussy, bro. I'm telling you. When you get celibate, you get a lot of pussy. When you stop doing the thing, you get the thing. Because the universe makes balance when you're operating from duality. Now, when you operate from divinity and you accept both sides, you get the thing when you want it. You get the thing as you want it. You see what I'm saying? And I'm using that to say this. So from his example, him getting the tit pics and all of this other shit, and them women just bombarding his DMs and shit. And then from my perspective, getting something totally different, it was like, oh, they know better. Whatever balance I've set up, motherfuckers know better. The universe respects my balance to where I'm in this space and these type of motherfuckers ain't coming in my shit. I'm balanced. If I'm not trying to be an object of lust, but I keep surviving and I'm bringing lustful shit around me in my life, I'm imbalanced. But the universe is still imbalanced. Now, when I'm imbalanced and imbalanced, that's cold because now you're imbalanced within yourself, which is your divine self, and you're imbalanced within the universe. You're fluid. You're fluid. Again, I'm not telling you any shit that I'm pulling out my ass. This shit that I actually do. I operate from both sides of who I am. You dig what I'm saying? It's almost like the phrase is better to, it's not almost. It is the phrase. It's better to be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in the war. You dig what I'm saying? But then to understand that you can be in the garden. There's some people, I was watching a Mike Tyson documentary and shit, and he was just like, yo, that's all I know is war. That's all I know is war. And when Mike Tyson was talking about his shit, he was like, bam, I'm like this, but then my other extreme, the world has to be like this because of my extreme. And we don't realize that we have the control and the power to turn it off. Not even turn it off, just switch it by moving it from duality to divinity. Everybody talks about duality as, oh, yo, you got to have balance. You got to have, no, that means you have to be intentional and you have to purposely connect your virtues and your vices. That's really what that means. You have to be virtuously viceful and vicefully virtuous, if that makes sense. A lot of people don't want to walk the line of virtue and vice. They only want to use virtue and they want to eliminate their vices. Not realizing your vices can be virtues. And with time, your virtues can become your vices again, because it's all balanced. When you walk in divinity, you realize that you ever heard the phrase "too much of a good thing can be a bad thing." When you walk in the duality, you never know when that good thing becomes bad for you. When you walk in divinity, you know when the time is up. When you're in the duality, it's just, okay, I'm gonna operate from this extreme only. Nah, but divinity lets you see that my virtue and my vice is the same shit. My virtue and my vice is the same shit. It's opposite sides of the same coin. When I embrace both of them, I got this shit. Case in point, when I became the ladies' man, that was a vice. When I was hoeing, that was a vice. But it didn't have to be a vice. It could have easily been a virtue. Because it wasn't, because my whole phase, the catalyst of my whole phase, the cause of my whole phase that made it easy wasn't the fact that I was actually good at getting women. I was, but I wasn't good at getting women, so to speak. I was good at connecting to the heart of people. It didn't matter what the human was. I was able to connect with the heart of humans either way. So when it came to women who are broken and in relationships and shit like that, I didn't know being a counselor and all this shit get you pussy and shit. I was just listening because I listen to humans anyway when they hurt, because I know what it's like when you have a pain and you want to get it out. But then it got to a point where women weren't on their pain. They were just operating from the extreme. I'm not hurt. I'm just rebounding. I got so much pussy on the rebound. As a rebounder, as a reboundee, I got so much pussy because, again, I set that space up. You dig what I'm saying? I set that space up. And I set that space up for women who are on that extreme side. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't until like learning to walk the duality and stopping from walking the duality and learning to walk the divinity, I learned that, you know, when I was that one woman, when I was the hoe and shit, I was the hoe. It was the charm. It was all of that shit. The moment I became a one woman man, I turned it off. I went to the extreme. You can't. This is what fucks us up in life, and we don't realize this. This is why our decision making, our life changes so drastically, and we feel like devils are busy and shit and all this other shit because we just make a decision and change it. We don't make the changing decision and make all of the subsequent decisions to make the transfer smooth. We just cut the switch off or cut it back on. You dig what I'm saying? So in dealing with the women that I was dealing with, and it's just like, yo, I'm a one woman man now. That was a whole different extreme. Could I do it? Yes, I could do it. But at the same time, there's things that you had to realize that there's a total part of you that still exists on this side that existed over there that you can't kill. But if you kill that side, it's going to make shit bad. You see what I'm saying? Case in point, with that girlfriend, with the girlfriend that ended up cheating on me, I ended up getting into a point where before I even came to high school, before I came to college, when I left high school and shit, I was one of the flyest motherfuckers in high school. Like, you feel what I'm saying? So much so, let me tell you, my little cousin, we like a year apart, so but he's a younger than me. But one of my cousins came to the college too, the next year, right? So I was a sophomore, he was a freshman, and as I remember like we driving, I'm checking him up to see the campus and shit and everything like that, and I'm like, bah. So I'm telling him, he's like, yeah, so what they dressing like and all of this shit. And I'm like, yo, he said, because I know, man. He said, yo, you was always fly, bro. So he said, I already know you know what's latest and shit like that. So he said, what do you do? And I thought about it. I was like, bro, I don't even dress up no more, bro. All I wore to class was, if it was the cold, I wore jogging pants with a thermal and a t-shirt and a hoodie. And if it was, hot, I wore some shorts, a t-shirt, and that was what I went, some flip-flops. And everybody was like, my cousin, when he seen me, he was like, what the fuck happened to you? And I moved to an extreme because I was no longer a single man. And I no longer did my upkeep. I no longer wanted to, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I got her, bro. And because my essence was what I felt attracted her, not my core. I mean, not my shell. But your shell is usually what attracts the motherfucker. And that's usually what goes first because you get comfortable. I had to learn this about divinity. I only shut this side down because this side was a threat to you. I never forget, we're walking like from like the cafeteria or whatever the case may be. It's all of the group and shit. I'm looking at the group talking to my friend. Some woman is staring me in my face. My girl see the woman staring in my face, but I'm looking at everybody. She like, so the girl, like, she looks at me every time she see me. Just looks. I'm like, I'm a beautiful motherfucker. Like, you feel at that time, bro, I was in that transitionary phase, like, to where, you know what I'm saying? I was segueing into becoming a man in a relationship, but still dealing with the residual of getting out of, the streets and shit. So I'm not arrogant, but I'm not arrogant, but I'm very confident and accepting of what I am. So the motherfucker staring. So I'm being dramatic and being me when she say it. She like, watch that bitch look in your face. I said, I'm a beautiful motherfucker. Have you seen me lately? So everybody busts out laughing. So when everybody busts out laughing and shit, she's serious. I'm like, oh, for real? I'm like, who? What are you talking about? She's like, her. I said, so I'm looking at y'all. I don't even know that she's looking at me. I never realized that I was dealing with an insecure person before. I never experienced it before. You feel me? Because I've never even been insecure before. Again, these is extreme shit. You can't just go to an extreme because the universe is going to balance you out. So as I'm dealing with this person, I'm like, damn, I'm a beautiful motherfucker. Like, why you with me? Because you was looking. You feel what I'm saying? And then it got to a point where only I can look at her. Only she can be the one to look at me and shit. It was so much so that, like, y'all know how to do jam sessions and shit. Like, I was recording videos of me rapping even then. And she seen one of the videos and she was like, I don't think you should post it because that's you. That's like so intimate. This is a side of you. I said, you don't want me to post it because I look good and people gonna see it. And she admitted to it. And I laughed at it because I didn't know. She was like, you right. And then we laughed and I was like, oh, damn, that's a red flag, homie. Case in point. Speaking of that, I'm glad I said that shit. That being a red flags aren't universal. If you have universal red flags, you operate from duality and not divinity because you are only operating from an extreme that people tell you to operate from. My red flags are the red flags for me. My red flags are not universal. There's shit that niggas don't like that I love. There's shit that I love that niggas don't like. And it will never, the lines will never blur because as long as you still operate to everybody, this is a red flag. Like, for example, a woman with a body count, it ain't a red flag for me. In fact, it's a green flag for me because it's like, yes, I ain't got to teach you shit. I ain't got to teach you shit. And I ain't got to have the expectation that I don't have to teach you shit. And I don't have the expectation that you're not going to know what you're doing. You feel what I'm saying? Like, now, there's other factors that play into the shit. Like, yeah, were you saved? Did you, like, how reckless were you? Like, was it a situation where, you feel me, where condoms on the other side of the room and you just decided not to? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, how safe are you with your sex? With the bodies that you've gotten? Because I've never caught anything. I had one pregnancy scare, and that's because the condom popped when I was 15. But outside of that, nothing. You feel me? Nothing at all. And I'm proud of that. But again, with that, it comes experience. I'll fuck your brains out. Like, I know exactly how, and then I know anatomy and physiology. I know exactly what to do to a woman's body sexually. It's you know what I'm saying? And because of that, I had to realize that I couldn't be operating solely from extremes anymore. Because now when I'm operating from the good dick nigga, like, nigga, this is, yo, I'm fucking, like, you wonder why you get hoes? The universe is like, because women gonna talk, and women don't even have to talk. All they gotta do is feel. A woman can tell a woman can tell when a man is fucking a woman in public just by how that woman changes her feel when he's around. Women can feel that shit with him. She know when a nigga she know when her homegirl's getting fucked good. She know when a friend is she know when an enemy getting fucked good. And trust me, my brothers, if y'all have been in the game, you know how easy it is to get pussy when women think that you fuck good. And they know. And so this is one of the things that, you know, you go into the whole shit, right? But it turns into a space where I got off because I'm started losing it. But it turned into a space where with that particular person, I started to lose myself, you know, because the red flags, like I said, so let me finish that part and get back to the point. So the red flags, that was what the red flag was for me. Red flags wouldn't be universal if you were operating your divinity because you're like, yo, this is what the red flag is for my life, for me. There's shit that you do that is cool. There's not a problem for me. But now when you have a universal red flag and you're viewing that with me, I have to see what it is. I've learned that in relationships. A lot of women have viewed me as a universal red flag. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you're doing this, that, and the third. You must be doing this. I'm sleep. I'm struggling liking you right now. So meeting somebody else right now and doing that shit again and having that shit on deck, like, I wouldn't be entertaining you. Like, seriously, don't play. Like, don't play with me. You feel me? But again, I can't help that the extreme that you built it causes you to see this as a red flag because your friend told you this was a red flag because that was a red flag for them because that's some shit that they were doing. There's levels and layers to the red flag thing. But everybody has, oh, girl, if he do this, he's a red flag. Hey, yo, bro, she do this, she a red flag. Is that a red flag for you? There's motherfuckers who have been green flags for you, but you saw it as a red flag because somebody told you it was a red flag. Fucked up a whole opportunity to learn something new about yourself because this person actually was a green flag for you, but you called it a red flag because somebody else told you it was a red flag and it was a red flag for them. When you're in your divine space, you already have the balance and understanding to know what your red flags are. You dig what I'm saying? So again, tying it back to my little cousin and shit, and him running him back, and he's like, "Yo, bro, you ain't. It's all you wear." Like he said, "You fell off." And he told me straight to my face. I'm glad my little cousin told me that. He was like, "Yo, you fell off," and I fell off because this person needed me to fall off in order to be secure in a relationship. You got to be careful what you ask for, because now when you're that one woman man, and now I'm not saying, oh, I should have been polygamous and whatever the case may be, but when you decide to be that one woman man for that extreme, now you have to eat all of the shit that comes with it. This person wasn't ready for no shit like that. This person was not mentally stable enough to be in a healthy single relationship. I didn't know. I didn't know shit about that. But again, it wasn't until, because I was always walking in that duality, and I just completely stopped it. And then when I completely stopped it and shit, and then that's like, I stopped, And then when she cheated, it's like, damn, bro, the very shit that you told me you didn't want me to express was the very shit. Like, how? Like, you wanted it. And, as we talked, she told me, she was like, it was like a little puppy. I just wanted to keep it for myself. And I was like, damn, like, why didn't you say this shit earlier? I know why she didn't say it earlier, because it would have fucked up. This was all red flag shit. I would have left, nigga. I would have left. I would have fucking left. There ain't no ifs, ands, and maybes about it. I would have left. But again, I wasn't in the right space. You see what I'm saying? And because we can get guilted into not being in the right space if we don't understand our virtues and our vices, right? I understood my virtues and my vices well, and I understand them well, and I look and I don't see them as things that I should amplify or things that I should suppress. They just are, and I use them. I don't want to overhype myself with my virtues and undermine myself with my vices. They're equally present and they're equally there. And I think that's one of the things that disappoints us as people, because we never make peace with our vices, simply because we never walk in that divine space. We never realize that it's the vices that amplify the virtue. Like the fact that a motherfucker could do something negative to you but don't, that hits harder than just the motherfucker who does something good for you but would never do anything wrong for you. You dig what I'm saying? Because then you realize that this person is using their decision-making skills and they're making a conscious choice to be a good person. It's not on no accidental shit. They're not being a good person for reward. They're doing it. Oh, this is just who the fuck I am. You dig what I'm saying? When I look at women saying they want a man who's a protector and a provider, you got to be able to fight and everything like that. We don't understand how potent we are, how subtle it is what we're saying. A lot of the shit as humans that we've been asking for out of relationships. I want a person who can equally walk virtue and vice. We don't want to admit that that's what it is. Even with but we want a person who can equally walk virtue and vice, but we don't believe that we're supposed to walk virtue and vice. We think we only supposed to walk virtue, right? This is why the bad boy is always the good guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Bad boy always gets the girls, because it's that extremism. You feel me? When we take the vice and the virtue and we walk hand in hand with the shit, then we walk into our divinity and we are balanced. We are balanced we are imbalanced. Like our duality makes us imbalanced while the universe is balanced. But our divinity makes us in balance with the balance of the universe. It's not difficult. It's hard. I mean, it's not difficult. It's really simple, but it's hard to embrace your vices, especially when you have no virtues. You know what I'm saying? Like some people don't even, and some people, because of your environment or whatever the case may be, some people don't even think they have a virtue, or they're entitled to live a virtuous life, and they don't know what it means to live a virtuous life. A virtuous life is simply a life made out of positive decisions. A viceful life is a life made out of negative decisions. Your vices aren't they're your decisions. They're the negative decisions you make in life. That's it. Your virtues are the positive decisions that you make in life and the equity that you built up off of making them. Now, when women talk about, I need a man who's going to be like, they don't want to, like, this is where the virtue and the vice comes in. You feel me? They want a man who's going to protect, but they don't want a violent man. And niggas because motherfuckers operate from an extreme. You can't expect the motherfucker to be violent. No, niggas call controlling the violence. The fuck? Like, violence is what you control. You feel me? Violence is a vice, but it's also a virtue. because violence is a response to danger. Now, did the danger escalate because of my vice? Or did the danger present itself because of my virtue? Either way, I'm eliminating the danger because I got to get violent with it, because the danger is how you respond. I mean, violence is how you respond to danger. But violence is both a virtue and a vice. But when you operate in a space of duality as opposed to divinity, you can't see that. You see violence solely as a vice. Hence why they had the whole civil rights movement. Malcolm X walked virtue and vice. That's what the problem was. He walked virtue and vice. He said, "Nah, we not going out and fucking niggas up. But if you say no, if you say it's a problem, we say no problem." You feel me? Martin Luther King was, "We're gonna be nonviolent." And what happened with the nonviolence? The violence got stronger. Just natural, because we were imbalanced, but we were in balance in the universe. If niggas was fighting back, they wouldn't have done shit. You see what I'm saying? But they knew that if they can create that extreme, they can continue to create the world, and will continue to fight for the virtue, and they can exhibit the vice on us. You feel what I'm saying? But now, like I say, when we look at women who say, "I need a man who can be like," you want a man who can fight. Like, you have to understand violence as a virtue and a vice. Most of the motherfuckers that are, the hood niggas and shit, street niggas, we learn violence as a virtue from the jump. For us, that's why it's a little bit different. We have to get to a point where we learn that it's a vice, but we learn that by so much so we teach like it's a universal thing. Little boys know fight by 2 years old, and they doing this shit. I mentioned this in So Frail 2 and 3, or So Frail 2, one of the but we talk about fight. We tell our little boys, "Yo, fight," and when they're fighting, they have a smile on their face. They think that's a virtue. Oh yeah, you can fight. What I say, we either got hands or we got hoes. Those are our virtues, homie. Those are our virtues, not our vices. And we wonder why we good at them, because we get glorified for them. So we don't know that it's a vice, but we don't know that it can be a vice. That's the thing about the divinity. Your virtue can easily become a vice when you let it consume you. That's why your ego has to be in check. You have to understand that both of these dualities can coexist at one time, and one can shift to the other at will. That's what we don't think. We think because we're constantly doing good that it's never bad gonna come out of that shit. No, that good can turn bad too. That virtue can be a vice too. There's so many motherfuckers who have used good shit. When you gossip about people, that is turning your virtue into a vice. Because you got power of life and death in the tongue. You can speak life into people. You can choose to speak something and say something that could be productive and that could be beneficial to your reality, but you choose to talk about another person. The verse and the vice is you talking, your conversation, your ability to spread and disseminate information, but you use it for a vice instead of the virtue. I can easily have my podcast on some messy shit. Easily. I can use this whole thing as a vice that everybody else is doing because niggas like vices. But I'd rather use it for a virtue and put some vices in the motherfucker to let you know that we're all human and we can grow and develop when we walk in a better balance. My vices and my virtues are right here equally, because I'm able to do that shit, because I'm not afraid of them, because I understand that my virtues can become my vices. I've learned the hard way that my virtues can become my vices. You feel me? Being a ladies' man is cute until that shit takes you to a whole nother level. And now you're doing some stupid shit that you shouldn't have been doing. It's like, and now you wondering, why? Because your virtue can become a vice. Too much of a good thing can be bad, but we never say too much of a bad thing can be good. Because we don't want to accept the reality that our virtues and our vices are the same shit. They derive from the same entity, and it comes from the energy that is us choosing whether or not we're going to exhibit a positive side or negative side. Are we going to have a positive decision or a negative decision? Because now, like I say, it goes back to your deities. As long as you have a deity, now you don't even have to be accountable for the shit. Your virtues and vices are the things that you're accountable for the most. The accountable and responsible decisions that you make, or the lack of accountability and irresponsibility when you make decisions. That creates your virtue and your vice. It's not hard. It's not hard, but you don't get to that point till you understand the divinity. But if you're constantly walking the duality, you may try to I want to live a virtuous life. Why do vices keep testing me? Why do I keep being tempted? Why? Because you're trying to live a virtuous life, nigga. The universe will be balanced. Even if you're trying to be imbalanced. And people don't realize they're being imbalanced when they're just trying to be good all the time. I don't try to be good. I try to be seen. And that's just me. I know I say some shit to piss people off. I know I say some shit that I don't be lying though. But I was me. You feel me? This whole cancel culture makes you not even want to embrace your vices, or not makes it so that you can't use your vices. or makes it so that you try to use your virtues all the time and then your virtues be wrong. You can't say shit. I don't give a fuck about this whole, like, it's a joke, and it's like it's a joke, but it's honest at the same time. Because I'm not about to be on some, you know, he, she, this, that, they, them, it, core, all of that shit. I'm not doing that shit. So when I say bruh, sis, all y'all, I show you that, okay, I can acknowledge what you're doing, but that shit makes no sense. That shit's stupid. Let's keep it to what it is, bruh, sis, all y'all. The all y'all is whatever other pronoun you want to rock with. That's my virtue and my vice. Now no, you're gonna call me he, bruh, sis, all y'all. Now you can get the fuck out of my face or whatever you want to do, tying that back in to the vice and the virtue of violence. I know, but tying that back into the vice and the virtue of violence. That's why women want a man who's violent, but they don't want it to be violent as an extreme in duality. Be violent, divinely violent, because that is the difference between a barbarian and a warrior. Like, when you are violent, it's because you understand danger, you're responding to it. Me personally, if I don't feel like, and again, this is why you get religions and shit like that, but I don't feel like killing somebody's wrong. I don't. I just can't, because I have to look at it. Me personally, I know I would not kill anybody unless they actually deserved it. And I know people say, well, people don't deserve to have their life taken from them. People don't deserve people don't deserve the shit that happens to them that triggers them to kill somebody. But nobody talks about that shit. You don't know what the fuck a motherfucker did. You don't know what level that motherfucker made me feel to make me want to go kill him. It's virtue and vice. It's virtue and vice. Now, when I teach you which is virtuous and which killing is virtuous and which killing is viceful, then now that changes the dynamic of things, because now you don't know what's what. So me, I always say this, I'm a violent person. I'm a very violent person, but my violence is a virtue and it's a vice. It used to be just a vice. It used to be a vice that I perceived as a virtue. That's why I'm able to walk the line with it. I don't mind a good fight. I don't mind fucking shit up. I don't mind none of that shit anymore, because, I used to be, when I went to college, I was ashamed of it, because it's like, yo, I got to get, I'm out of the hood. I'm this and the third. I literally tried to kill all of my vices. You feel me? That's another part of your perception. The shit that you, like, we be thinking that creators made us and shit and sent us in the conditions that we in for us not to be who the fuck we become. That don't make no sense to me. But that shows when you only trying to live a virtuous life and you trying to hide away from the vice. I can't do it anymore. And I've never been able to. You know what I'm saying? So if a motherfucker say, like, yo, I'll be violent with you. It's like, yo, how do you feel? Because I don't know what y'all believe in. Well, I do know what y'all believe in, but whatever y'all believe in, y'all can't do this shit at all. What I fuck with says, I have not done this shit without a due reason. Clear for me. There's a reason for everything. And I know me because of the balance within my, if I kill you, it's because you deserved it. Because I'm not a person who's going to kill you. That's how I justify shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I personally don't operate from that. So, like, now when shit happens, they're like, so what you gonna do if you shoot somebody, or whatever? Yeah, I'm gonna deal with all of the consequences that come with killing a motherfucker, because I now I felt the reality that whatever you did to me, it was justifiable by me killing you. And by that, because of the freedom, palakafe, because of the freedom that I have within myself, I'm willing to deal with the consequences to take for killing you comfortably. I know, there's prison for life and having to worry about fighting niggas off all day long. It balanced to me. You feel what I'm saying? But that's how I look at life, because I've learned to walk both the vice and the virtue. Motherfuckers fuck with me for the vice and the virtue. It's not just the virtue. And that's what we try to do when we wonder why, when we just try to put virtue out all the time, why we get vice. You see what I'm saying? And the same shit when we put out vice all the time, we get virtue and shit, and we be sabotaging our opportunities because we can't put the vices down. That's crazy. That's crazy, because that shows that within our divinity, we always want to walk a duality, because that's what they teach us to walk. You go to church right now, you go to the mosque right now, you go to everywhere, they're going to teach you to be good. And all of the people that are telling you to be good, they're some of the most fucked up people. Oh, the devil busy, the devil tempted me. Pastor be having an affair. You feel what I'm saying? The imams and shit, they be fucking little girls. Like, it be a whole bunch of sick shit going on, and you can't figure out why, but these are the most virtuous people you can find, which means that they got the strongest vices that they never made peace with. See, this is one of the reasons why I'm transparent. This is one of the reasons why I tell y'all shit. This is one of the reasons why I give y'all the stories that I've gone through and how I get to the revelation, because I don't want you to see me as virtuous. You feel me? I don't want you to see me as virtuous. I don't want some shit to, like, when I dropped the 200th episode and shit, I think the 200th episode made y'all realize how human I was. You know what I'm saying? And I was able to show you I made virtues out of my vices. And I use my vices for virtue. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of shit that I didn't have to do. There's a lot of shit that I didn't have to exploit. There's a lot of shit that I didn't have to continue with, but I did because it was easy, because it was a part of that. You feel me? But I'm able to share this shit with y'all because I don't have to live a virtuous life. I'm not trying to tell y'all, hey, look, I'm showing y'all this world is going to make you use both. You feel what I'm saying? I learned early on that if a nigga don't get out your face, knock him the fuck out. That's not a bad thing. It's fighting is a vice, so they say. Being violent is a vice, but if it's for the right reason, it's a virtue. You feel me? I'm gonna say this and I wrap it up. I was watching Dragon Ball Z during the Cell Saga. The Cell Saga, if you've heard me say it, that's one of my favorite sagas and shit. And before Cell killed Android 18 and shit, and he stepped on the nigga head, Android 18 was telling Gohan, hey, look, bro, it's not a sin to kill for the right reason. He was like, there's people who words alone won't reach. And that was the perfect example. Matter of fact, that I think about the shit, Gohan and Cell's fight was the perfect example of virtue versus vice. It got to the point, Cell's vice was about to kill every fucking body. Gohan's virtue was so potent that it wouldn't kill Cell. That's the extreme of that was so high and so magnitude wise that it took a robot to come and tell this nigga, hey, look, bro, don't be so fucking virtuous that you let his vices go unsolved. Cell, he said, this nigga is about to kill your daddies. I said plural, Piccolo and Goku. He about to kill your daddies. He about to kill your uncle. He about to kill your homies. He about to kill everybody. You the only motherfucker that can do it, but you don't want to because you don't like violence. You don't like fighting. That was the greatest, in my opinion, that was the greatest example that in a kid's show of showing the power of and the necessity of vice and virtue, because Gohan would not snap. Gohan, and when he did snap, he only snapped when it was necessary, but Gohan would not snap. Cell could not be restrained. And Cell said, I'm fucking everything up. He said, only way you can, he said, you're the only motherfucker that can stop me. So then he said, all right, bet. You don't want to fight me? Gohan told him straight up. He gave him the virtue. He said, Cell, this is pointless. He said, I don't even like fighting. I don't like what it does. He said, but I'm going to kill you if we fight. He said, if you push me to that level, I'm going to kill you. Gohan had the virtue to say, you know what? I don't want to do this. I don't want to hurt you. But Gohan was living from the extreme of virtue, the duality side. Cell said, fuck you, bitch. I'm going to push your buttons to see if I can make you break because I want to fight you. And he said, you know what? I'm not putting a boundary on my vice. Matter of fact, I'm going to make 7 Cell Juniors and they got all my power and they're going to beat up everybody in your circle. And then when Cell said, all right, y'all can kill him now. Gohan is still like, yo, Cell, please don't do this. His virtue is so strong that he's watching his people die and he still will not create the action. When Android 16 was talking to him, he said, hey, bro, let it go. He said, there's people who words won't reach alone. You have to kill them. He said, it's okay. It's okay. And I get it. I'm not saying go out there and just shoot a random motherfucker like because he pissed you off or whatever the case may be. This is some different shit. They were fighting for the fate of the world. You feel me? So Android 16 is telling them, and Gohan was like, and it registered, Gohan was like, yo, you weren't even human and you had the compassion to know this is not going to be good. He said, I can't watch this anymore. And if you've seen the episode, like Gohan said, I feel it slipping. I'm going to let it go. And he said he took the virtue. Y'all always hear me say, the hero doesn't win until he gets with the shits. That's when the hero decides and says, I can't just live a virtuous life. I have to live a life of vice too. And this is what I'm saying. And this is when it switched because of his extreme. Cell, his vice was so potent. He said, nigga, you ain't going to transform and do shit. I'm going to dust you off myself. I just want to see you fight. When Gohan transformed, Cell's tune changed. Gohan literally snapped into his vice and he started killing Cell Jr. just like that. He was just hitting these niggas like bam. And it was like, and Cell got shook and Cell was like, his vice turned to virtue and he started begging, yo, please don't do this. You're a monster. The dopest scene ever was it went from Gohan begging Cell not to kill everybody and just leave the fight alone to Cell begging Gohan not to kill him and calling him a monster. How does the hero become the monster? How does the villain become the hero when they switch places between their virtue and their vice? Because they've been walking the extreme of duality and not the singularity of divinity. And don't forget to check out Pala Cafe Clothing, formerly Just Scenes merch, Get all of your intricate designs crafted specifically for the melanated being to develop a positive imagery within self and to have a little bit of fun in the process. From the peace, love, knowledge, and freedom to the dead horses and water designs, all of the styles are crafted for the imagery to make you feel as you're supposed to feel. Because as I always say, the best way to fit in is to stand out. And what better way to stand out than with your exclusive styles from Cafe Clothing. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. Yeah, that's balance. I think it was good to end it on that Dragon Ball Z. I fucks with Dragon Ball Z, but yeah, I think that's it. A lot of us we be feeling we now because we walk the even line of virtue and vice. This now goes into our chakras and shit. But this is why our personalities be fucked up. Your personal identity is who you are. If you only operate from a personal identity that leads you to want to only have a virtuous life, this is what it is. Now, if you feel like your life ain't shit and you're destined for fucked up shit, you only gonna live for the vices, that's another situation you got to deal with. But when you accept that, I'm equally both of these things, your personal identity shifts and you can't be tamed anymore. Because you can't be guilted or feel shame for things that you understand are both parts of you. Because now you realize, oh, that's just decisions that I make. Now you get better at making decisions. The vice and virtue kind of dissipate. Now I'm at a space where I don't look at things as vices and virtue. I just look at things that I do. And if it fucks you up, it fucks you up. If it makes you better, it makes you better. But if I got to apologize, I'll apologize if need be. But then if I have to apologize, that means I also have to leave your life. I don't mean that in a fucked up way, because that means that if my action caused you whatever, and it's an action I cannot change, not that I'm willing to change or not, no, it's something that I really cannot change because this is an extension of who I am, that means we're not compatible. We're problematic for each other. And that means that we need to separate from being whatever it is that we being. Friends, cousins, family, it don't matter. Like, if that is the case, this is what it has to be. Because my virtue and my vices can't be suppressed. Now, when you're trying to live a virtuous life and, only, what I mean? Like, if you're only trying to live a virtuous life and, why does shit keep going to shambles? No, you're trying to make the right decisions without anticipating a bad decision happening. So you're never prepared for it. You feel me? Just like if you live a life of vice and shit, when somebody do something good for you, you feel like they got something up their sleeve. Like, the fuck this nigga want? What the fuck you doing? Because you can't experience virtue. Virtue scares you now. Y'all never paid attention to that shit? You know how you ever been in a situation, men and women alike, you've been in a relationship where motherfucker, never had a motherfucker like you before? Or, you know what I'm saying, motherfucker tell you that, they don't deserve somebody like you? Pay attention, nigga. They're telling you that with all the vices in my life, how the fuck did I get this virtue? Listen, I heard that, but didn't hear those words several times. Oh, what do I do to deserve a man like you? What did I do to deserve a man like you? I wonder now, because what did you do to deserve a man like? Because if you're asking that question, that means whatever it is that you do or whatever it is that you've been doing does not deserve a man like me. Why am I not listening to you? Because my virtue is so extreme that I'm trying to, I'm trying to shut, nigga, my vice will let, you know what? You might be right. Let me walk away from you. Nobody wants to be looked at the bad guy. Nobody want to be like, when it's time to break up with a motherfucker, nobody wants to do it. But who has to do it? Not your virtuous side, your vice. Your virtuous side to fuck around and long wind you into staying in that relationship. Your vice will say, you know what, it ain't gonna work. Because there's an even balance of good and bad that you have to walk. One side, once you start going to extremes, the other side has to be balanced out. I don't give a fuck what you think you gonna do or what you can't do. That other side will be balanced out. It's better to balance it yourself. And you balance it by being able to deal with the consequences and knowing that everything is a decision that you made, and you now know how to deal with that residual of the consequences that you made. And then now you can say, I can walk both the virtuous and the, life of vice. And then, when you want some virtue in your life, shift it a little bit to some vice, do some vice for shit. And then you start getting some, deal with the consequences though. Don't get me wrong. You feel me? When you want a little bit of vice in your life, start doing some virtuous shit. It's just the way the balance is working in. But then walk that fine line where you want to walk both. You see what I'm saying? Talk your shit, but then give your information. Like, you know what I'm saying? Do what you do, but do it equally. Like, you can't, like, we look at everybody want to be righteous and shit. Everybody want to be righteous, but they don't know what it means to be righteous. Because to understand that it's not a sin to fight for the wrong reasons, then you can't, like, you got to realize that being righteous ain't always good. And it damn sure ain't always right. Somebody's going to be wrong because the world has to be balanced. You feel what I'm saying? People don't understand that. You know how difficult it is for a man to actually decide to protect a woman because of a situation, but his virtues won't allow him to do it. Both his virtues and his vices are conflicting with each other because he's picked one side. Help this woman, but I don't want to just necessarily be a violent man for no reason. There's a lot of shit that goes into it. Like, people don't understand what so many different things are running through your mind at one time when you're making a decision, and it's both virtue and vice. And because we don't prepare our virtue and vice ahead of time, it's hard to make the decisions because we have to lean on what do I still like. When people ask me, like, I don't make decisions based off how I'm gonna look to people. I don't do that shit anymore. Yo, how this gonna make me look? Yo, damn, I wonder what people gonna think about me. I don't give a fuck no more. You know why I don't give a fuck no more? For one, because people don't think anyway. So if I know that people naturally don't think, they just, group think, they just follow what everybody else do. I don't give a fuck about what people think. Bitch, you don't think any fucking way. So what the fuck difference does it make about what you think about me? But another reason why is that is because how did you catch me in whatever you thought? You only get a first chance to make a second impression. But did our experience, the experience that you're having with me right now, was it catalyzed because whatever life events that you and I have in our own individual lives, how it brought us here? Did it bring us here for our our vices or our virtues to collide? I don't look at, like, if I have a fucked up reality with you, I have an argument or some shit like that, we have a falling out, it was supposed to happen. I don't look at it. It's like, I look at life like, okay, bam. Now I know that if I'm operating from my divinity, you operating from your duality, or whatever the case might be. However we were supposed to operate, that's how we were operating, and it made us meet each other. Now, whatever was supposed to come next, that's what was supposed to come next. I can't get any other way out of that shit. But because of that, I don't look at situations no more as, I wonder if this, I live by what ifs now. I mean, I live by OLs. I don't live by what ifs. I live by OLs, and I live by OLs because I know that I walk the virtue and a vice line perfectly. And it's just like, yo, I made the decision. I don't give a fuck no more. Like, walking away. Like, there's a lot of people say, you don't regret leaving med school? No, bitch. I wrote Hitting It Raw. The fuck? I don't think it can get any, for me personally, I don't think it can get any better than that, as clearing that debt up. Like, you feel me? Oh, you still could have went because you could have paid for it. I can pay for med. I can pay for the school, and I can pay for all of the shit that I went to with So For Real. I mean, with Hitting It Raw. Hitting It Raw was that, all right, bet, I'm not going back. Fuck it. Now I took my virtue and my vice with it. If you look at it, I everybody that I know that's read Hitting It Raw was like, yo, it feels like just a conversation with my friend, like my real friend. Like, and it made it so easy. I know. I gave you my virtue, which was the knowledge that I went, and I gave you my vice, which is what makes you relatable to me. That's another part that we don't want to talk about. We don't talk about the reason why vices are so heavy, because vices are what makes us relate to people. We don't relate to people off good shit. Think about your closest friends right now. Think about your closest friends right now and how much negative shit y'all actually do. On paper, to the outside world, yeah, y'all might have a virtuous friendship, but how did y'all come together, and what do y'all do? And when y'all are together, what do y'all do? Mainly some viceful shit. Y'all ain't virtuous all the motherfucking time. They don't only see your virtue, they see your vices too. Why do we not just show that to the world? What are we ashamed of? We think that it's reserved for certain people. Sometimes we don't even show our fam. That's crazy. When you find your soul tribe, you'll know, because there's a group of friends that you will find that you will be able to have your virtue and your vice in. Our family only sees our virtues. You see what I'm saying? Because everybody wants to maintain on good behavior and shit like that. If you live in a mentality where you want to just behave well, as opposed to, and be obedient, as opposed to being who you're supposed to be, you're not going to walk the virtue and the vice line correctly. You're only going to try to be virtuous. And that shit going to fuck you up in life. I ain't never met a virtuous motherfucker whose life wasn't hell. But again, it's hell by choice, because they're trying to be good. And when bad situations come into their life, they don't meet it with they don't meet it with bad energy to neutralize the shit. They meet it with good energy, and it enhances. Like they say, opposites attract, right? Opposites attract, but they also neutralize each other. You feel what I'm saying? Now, when you have two opposites, when you have two things that are like, and they come together, they repel each other. Go figure, right? So when I match your motherfucking energy, what does that do? Get you the fuck away from me. You see what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck about what Michelle Obama be talking about. When they go low, we go high. No, when they go low, you kick them in the fucking mouth. Up, you shouldn't have went low, nigga. Sorry. I bet you're not gonna go low again, though, are you? So I don't fuck with that motherfucker. You know why? Because when I go low, he kicks me in the fucking mouth. I gotta tell the story when I was, I was bullied for the first time when I was in kindergarten. After I beat the motherfucker up, I ain't get bullied no more. I matched the energy. His vice, I wasn't the bigger person. I didn't give you my virtue. I'm not gonna give you my virtue with the hope that you'll change. No, I'm gonna go ahead and neutralize the situation and give you my vice and let you know that my vice is worse than yours. Do you still want to play? Because we can do it. You feel me? That's what the civil rights movement was about. Martin Luther King, I want want y'all to know that as black people, we are far more virtuous than y'all are viceful. That was some of the dangerous, scariest shit ever. Because what we should have been saying was, I want to let y'all know that we don't give a fuck about your vices because we'll match them. I'm going to say this and I'm going to wrap it up or try to. I was in high school. This girl I used to fuck with. You feel me? She was hood. She was hood as shit. Like she was a scrapper. Like, you feel me? She was a woman that, like, yo, if I had beef, I'd take her to a fight with me. She'll fight and she would fight with me, nigga. Like, you feel me? She'd throw them things with me. But like, that's who she was. So we was talking with Dub and she was talking about this crazy dude that had a crush on her. And she was like, that nigga slow as fuck, but he crazy. And she was like, I let him know. She said, hey, look, I get just as crazy as you can get. We'll be in a special class together when it's all over. It was funny as shit. And everybody laughed. But that's how you have to deal with a vice. You see what I'm saying? It ain't like, people don't look at it like that. We think we look at a vice and we try to neutralize it and shit. I'm going to be virtuous. You feel me? No, be viceful and it'll repel itself. It's going to stay to you when you start trying to be virtuous because it's imbalanced, but it's balanced within the universe. So now you wonder, I'm going to keep doing shit. I'm going to turn the other cheek. I'm not turning shit. You're not even going to get my second cheek. You're going to know not to slap me. Like, I don't want you to have the feeling that if I come to you, you're going to give me the second cheek. I want you to have the feeling that when you come to me, I better not slap him. You feel what I'm saying? Fuck resting bitch face. Fuck all of that shit. I want you to see my essence exude to the point I don't want to try this nigga. He don't look like he play. I'm not going to play. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not about to test these waters with this motherfucker. Because you got to learn how to equally use your vices. People don't realize. You ever notice how two virtuous people can't be together either? Two virtuous people can't be around each other. Two motherfuckers that is just equally alike, trying to get for the same thing, they cannot be around each other. You don't believe me? A woman can walk into a space. These two women can be just the fucking like, and the woman say something about her I don't like. And then you come to find out that they friends, they become best friends. And what's their story? I didn't like her at first. Why? Because y'all niggas was the same. Y'all niggas was the same and y'all was repelling each other. And y'all didn't realize it until y'all became friends and y'all meshed and let the guards down and shit. But from the jump, you trying to be, whatever it was, whether you both operating from vice or you both operating from virtue. But then when you operate from vice or virtue, that's how you get the givers and the takers and shit. Like, no, this is ebb and flow, my nigga. You got to learn how to do this shit. You got to learn how to do this shit, bro. Learn how to tap into your vices. Vices are what stop vices. You feel what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck. Like, and virtue is what stops virtue. You want to get a good motherfucker away from you, be good to him. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. Be good to them and watch how they change because they can't, like, you know what I'm saying? It's weird. It's weird. But it's how divinity and duality and shit plays out. Your virtue and your vice. Are they two dual natures of yourself? Or are they things you made peace with? When they things that you made peace with, your life is smooth. And I don't mean smooth in the sense that nothing is friction. Like, you're able to pivot. When bad shit happens in my life, it feels the same way as good shit. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't like, for me, I'll say it like this. A failing trade feels the same way as a winning trade to me. In both ways, I was right. Hear me well. I was right in both ways. And I know it's like, but you didn't make money. I know. Making money side makes it virtuous. Losing the money makes it a vice, but it doesn't make a difference that I was right. My analysis was on point. So much so that I said it could potentially, the way that I'm looking at it, I know where it can go, but I know where it can go. So I'm going to set my stop loss here so I can reduce my risk, and I'm going to set my take profit here. Now, if it goes in my favor, cool, virtuous. If it goes against me, it's a vice, but the same system and the same setup remains the same. You don't know it. So when I lose, I'm like, damn it. When I lose, I'm like, yo, I knew it was gonna go down. Now I know it's like, well, why didn't you get in the right direction? Because it still could have went the other way. But the whole setup doesn't change everything. All of the data showed that this was what was supposed to happen. You see what I'm saying? And then when I win, it's like, hey, it did exactly what I knew it was gonna do. Why? Because the system is the same. You feel me? There's peace between the virtue, and it's like, so because of that, like there's not a different type of trade. I'm not gonna take these type of trades because they're vices. Or I'm not gonna take these type of trades. Or I'm only gonna take these trades because they're virtues. No, you could take too many of the wrong. You could take too many of the right trades and they could be wrong and clean your whole account. You can continue to take too many bad trades and they could turn in your favor and get you all your money right motherfucking back. But it depends on how well you're able to utilize the vice and the virtue. If you want to be virtuous and only operate from the extreme, prepare for nothing but vices in your life. If you want to live the vice life, you have to prepare for the virtuous shit to come in your life. And now, virtuous shit can be bad. I'm going to use this. I'm going to really wrap it up. Franklin decided to use the vice of his entrepreneurship. You feel what I'm saying? And the virtue that had to come to him was the police. You are ravishing your community, your people, your everybody. Yeah, you're getting rich, but look at what desecrates. This is a vice that you're doing. Virtue is going to meet you and balance that. Virtue isn't always good. So now, the virtue side of Franklin's shit is that he's homeless now. But what'd he say? I'm free. That's virtuous. It's completely opposite from what he did, but he's now living a virtuous life because the virtue took out the vices that he had. The government seized all of his assets. They took all of his money, everything. He lost everything because of the people that you gained from lost everything. Virtue. You see what I'm saying? I'm on some fuck 12 shit, but at the same time, if it's some shit that I can use 12 for, nigga, I'm gonna use them. Y'all got me fucked up. Y'all got me fucked up. If you think if I would do a speaking engagement or some shit, y'all think I'm not gonna book an undercover cop to come? No, yes, and it's still fuck 12. I'll tell him that to his face. Like, I don't fuck with y'all, but I'll pay you to protect me. And I know niggas will sing, how can you trust him? I don't. That's the point. I'd rather get with a motherfucker I know who I don't trust because I can honor that and I can respect that virtue and vice. I can respect that virtue and vice. If I say fuck 12, but yeah, I'm hiring an undercover cop to protect me, I can deal with that because I'm already on. I don't fuck with you anyway. But now when I start hiring family, when I start hiring friends, I'm not saying my family and my friends would do that shit, but when I hire people from my circle, I don't watch them anymore. That's how a lot of motherfuckers get caught up in shit. A lot of motherfuckers, the jealousy and the greed and shit, it be closer than you think. Be closer than you think because the virtue and the vice is closer than you think. And you're overlooking that because of your virtue. You don't understand that this person could tap into a vice on you at will. Because you think you looking out for your people. You thinking, nah, this is why I do the business transaction with people that ain't friends. When it comes to intimate shit. Because it's like, I know who I'm dealing with when I go into the situation. For me, it's fuck 12. When I go into this motherfucker, he know I don't fuck with 12. But hey, as long as it's check clear and as long as you protect me, we good. And I get it. Well, seeing you can't, I don't trust him. I'm watching this nigga too. But because I now gotta watch this nigga, I'm not off my P's and Q's. When I don't gotta watch the nigga that's supposed to watch for me, we got a problem. This is just my own personal perspective. Because if I don't gotta watch you, then that means I am off my game and anything can happen to me at any given time. But when I know I don't trust this nigga, he might play me. That means I'm still on point. You see what I'm saying? And that's the power of virtues and vices and the real understanding of balance. You have two choices. You can be balanced out of duality or balanced out of divinity. And divinity ain't no mystical shit. It's just as plain and basic as duality is. But you just have to understand that duality is the extremes. Divinity is the union of the opposites. Bring your opposites together and stop bullshitting. You'll realize how much greater your life really is if you stop trying to just be good all the fucking time. When I was a Christian, when I was a devout Christian, when I was heavy in the religion and shit, my life kept getting worse and worse, and I didn't know why, but I kept getting better and better in the religion. I was condescendingly talking to people. I was showing that I was holier than thou. I was quoting the scripture. I was praying all the time. I was praying for people. I was getting in prayer circles and leading them and shit. I was doing all of that shit, but then I was like, yo, why is my life getting worse? And I didn't put two and two together. Why is my life getting worse when I'm getting closer to the religion? Because you want to be virtuous. So, nigga, can you maintain virtue in the world of vice? I know now that I can't maintain that level of virtue in the world of vice. So I removed that level of vice by reducing how much virtue I have, by embracing my vice and, using it. You feel me? Everybody does it. I'm just happen to be one who admits it and tell you what I'm doing without being confused about it or being afraid of what happens, like, because this is a reality. So I'm going to go into there. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And our kids, bro, they already know virtue and vice. They made it well. Like, we call them terrible twos and shit. Kids are so brutally honest. No, they operate from virtue and vice. They don't, because the thing about a kid is this: they hear vice all the time. People can belittle them, talk shit to them, and speak to them. So they speak the same way back. They have to be trained not to do that. That's why they end up lying. Because they gotta try to be virtuous, and then the world becomes viceful to them. And because of the world of everybody else trying to be, it has to maintain balance. Adults spearhead and well, adults and the figureheads of our coaches and shit, they give the virtue to the outside world and they bring the vice back to the kids. So in order for the kids to make the vice stop, they have to increase the virtue, which makes them lie, makes them performative. And we're fucking up a whole reality just off not understanding the basic duality of virtue and vice. You dig what I mean? So we got to make sure our kids can maintain their honesty and their integrity. Like, if a kid say your breath stink, go brush your teeth. It's simple. Like, don't look at the kid and say you disrespectful and rude. No, nigga, you too close to this motherfucking kid talking. Go brush your motherfucking mouth. You feel me? Kids say, ooh, you need to wash. You musty. Okay, cool. Go put some deodorant on and take a motherfucking shower. Don't beat the kid for telling you the truth. You see what I'm saying? We become bullies because now we can exert the vice that we're scared to exert in the world. I know motherfuckers right now that'll get punked out by a motherfucking boss, or they get, you know what I'm saying, or somebody like that. But yet they kid can say the exact same shit that they boss can say, and they'll go to town on the kid. Why? Well, because you have somebody to take your anger out. You have somebody to take your vices out on, and they're not trying to do nothing but give you virtue. And then when you get older and I gave you nothing but virtue all my life and all you gave me was vice and critique, and you wonder why I don't fuck with you no more? The fuck? What you mean? We got to start doing that to our babies, yo. Let them equally operate in their virtue and their virtue and their vice, and we ain't got to worry about them, having to prove points of operating on extremes. You feel what I'm saying? And then teach them the balance. Our sons need to know that it's okay to fight. It's okay to be violent, but understand what to fight for and what's the purpose of being violent. We just teach them to be violent as a virtue. And then when it becomes a vice, now we're trying to say, nah, you told them to fight so they can defend themselves, but you never told them what to fight for. There's a reason to fight. You see what I'm saying? Our girls, we told them that, maintain your virginity and your essence and shit like that. We never told them what they were maintaining it for. So now they're practicing restraint. So when a nigga comes around and tell them that they're beautiful and shit like that, the shit that we keep depriving them of because they're too young, because we don't want the virtue, we don't want shit to go to their head, we don't want them, no, there's a lot of shit that the vices that we create because we refuse to give the virtue. And we do it to our babies. And we need to stop doing that. For real. Because it's fucking us up as a culture, and it's going to continue to fuck us up as a people. So I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And I'm going to see y'all all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.